I have never gotten a vision for this specific group of people before, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous to share it because I'm not even in the group of people. Hi, my name is Dakota Lee. I have a gift to see in the spirit. I'm also a professional animal communicator, and God's been letting me visit heaven since I was 12 years old. Every now and then I get a big vision, like a word of knowledge that he wants me to share. And so this message is for the Black community. I think this also applies to a lot of people of color, but God was showing me specifically the Black community. I am not in the Black community, obviously, but I want you to know that as I deliver this message, that I am coming from a place that I have done anti-racism work, and I have worked on my own biases in the way that I can. I've worked on myself to be as safe a white person as I can be for my friends and family who are people of color. God showed me he had a message for the Black community. And he said, Dakota, this community has been oppressed in so many ways, economically, financially, physically, and also spiritually. They have been kept down. And God said, but the amazing thing is that they were introduced to me and Jesus through all that cruelty that came with slavery. And God said, and they still saw me and my real message through the cruelty. And he said that I'm going to reward that. What God told me is that this message in particular is for Black people who are really good at walking in both worlds, both their own community and also the white community. So what this means is that if you're this kind of person, then you know how to dress white, talk white, run a meeting in a white way that white people appreciate, and you know how to smooth things over, you know how to handle microaggressions. You just know how to walk in a world that wasn't designed for you, and actually you're really good at it. And what God wants you to know is that all that practice you have done, where you have even risked, or as other people may have told you, risk giving up part of your Black identity to become more white, which is not what has happened. But God said that even at that risk has been a practice for where he's about to open doors next. What God wants you to know is that he is opening doors into places of white affluence that you haven't had access to before, that people of your community have not had access to before. And so basically, this message is apply for that job. Apply for that job that you think that you're only half qualified for and that has your dream salary. Go apply for it. What you don't know is in that the time, especially since George Floyd was murdered, so many white people have looked at things differently. We haven't made all the changes that we need to make. But so many white people have looked at things differently, that what you don't know is that in those places of high affluence, where usually only the white and the patriarchy are allowed to be, they now want you there. So go apply for that job. What God told me is that it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience microaggressions or misunderstandings, but very specifically I felt God say to me, do not mistake their lack of education for a lack of desire to have you there. White people, or at least in the places that he's going to open doors for you, want you to cross the gap. They just don't know how big the gap is. And I'm going to say that for myself. As much as I can say it as a white person, I want you in the places making a ton of money, making the decisions, kicking, you know what? I want you there. I, myself, and others who are also white, we don't know how big the gap is, but we want you there. We want you there. So take the risk. It's going to be not exactly easy, but it's going to be easier than the trailblazers before you. God told me that this message applies to a lot of industries, but specifically he said lawyers. And he said lawyers because lawyers grow into judges, and lawyers also can grow into politicians. And those are the really big decision makers of our country, or of countries. If you needed a sign to go push for even more striving, this is it. If you are the person that's being called to walk through these new doors, to walk into this white affluent space, then you might also be experiencing your family members or people from your community judging and worrying and wondering, is this really the right thing for you? And maybe vocally letting you know that they don't think this is right for you. And God told me that for the family members that are worried for those that are stepping through these doors that were previously not opened, these family members and friends are worried that they're going to lose connection completely, that you're going to change. And what you may not even know, because you haven't walked into this new place, is that your identity is guarded. You have practiced guarding it. You are not going to forget who you are. But your family is not going to know that until you actually take those steps and then turn around and show them, no, I'm still me. I haven't forgotten who I am. So I think what God is saying is that He is also protecting your identity, your real identity. He's not going to let you down. And sometimes you have to take the steps and walk forward before you can show those who are not called to take those steps that this is actually for the betterment of everybody. It's not just for you. It's not just for you.